Yo, what's good, people? So it's war number 6 of the season. We're at the halfway mark of the season after this one. And we're in a good position, right? We are 4-1 up going into this one. We're in the top 10 for Masters going into this. And so, yeah, all is good at the moment. We want to just try and keep that momentum going. And we've got a very tough war in the form of X+K9, one of the Brotherhood alliances. I believe these guys kind of move between, there's like X plus and X minus, so kind of, depending on the season, depends on which version of them you face, but this is the X plus version we're up against, who are pushing for Masters as well. Obviously, their death counts are usually pretty low, so we know we're in for a tough one this war. And I've got 4 fights, so my first one here is a Warlock versus ibom matchup on 8A, and it is a bit of a nothing fight, really. Like, I could have just gone in without boost, but those lesser boosts are so easy to accumulate from the solo crystals, so we just chuck them on as a safety net, right? Controls mess up, I just suddenly play awful and take a load of hits. It's just a little bit of extra protection, but as you see, it goes down very quick. The nodes there just quickly are get richer. The Fury version, so whoever's got more buffs is going to get 15% Fury every second. We've got the armor up buff. ibom's got no way to get buffs. I'm getting Fury throughout the fight, and I'm going to crush him. That is the simple explanation of that fight. Very, very easy. And I was going to say you could take it with your eyes closed. Would not advise. Do not take that as my advice and try and come back to me saying that was claimed by me. But we've got one fight down. We've got a solo. Lovely stuff. Let's move into the next fight here. We've got Shang Chi up against a spiderham on path 4B. So this is one I've taken a fair few times before. He's obviously got the steady build up unblockable, so if he gets 3 or more debuffs on you, he goes unblockable. If you shrug those off, then you get an unblockable passive instead. He's also got something is called Special Burst Lockdown, so every time he throws a special, you're going to get an armor break and an armor break and heal block debuff placed on you. And with Spiderham's ability to place debuffs on you throughout the fight, basically there's a good chance he goes unblockable. Shang-Chi helps manage that because you can use your cleanse charges. You can also have slow on him just to manage the chance that he gets his ability to evade. But you see here as well, every time I hit a bar of power, I am throwing it to just really try and keep his nonsense down and manage this fight as safely as possible. If you've seen me take this fight before, you'll know I used to take it with a slightly more nukey tactic where I build up to my special 2, using the stun and slow wushoos along the way and playing him unblockable the whole fight. There was one war where that went horribly wrong, and since we've just taken this safer, and I was going to say slower method, but it's really not that much slower. You see, still under a minute. Very safe way to take it. Of course, there are still things that can go wrong, so you still duel. Spiderham is just one of those, I use the word chunky for certain jams like this, just really weird movesets, and he can catch you with that nightmarish heavy randomly at times, so still one to obviously take pretty cautiously, but we get it down there with 2 fights in, 2 solos, all going well. Now we've got Warlock up against Havok, a fight I'm pretty well associated with, either for good or for bad reasons, depending on who you're speaking to, but it's on 4B as well. Steady build up unblockable, still there, 3 debuffs on me, he's unblockable. He's also got crumbling armor, so if I'm not hitting him regularly enough, every 6 seconds I think it is, he can put an armor break on me. I've also got a heal block permanently on me, so this is just similar to, you have seen me take a lot typically on the node just before this, which I actually think, because of Special Burst Lockdown, is a harder placement for Havok than placing him here, but it is still more or less the same thing. If he can start building those plasmas on you, it gets dangerous, having to potentially try and play him unblockable. But in this fight, I think it's easier to get your armor back because you just start hitting into him more. Crumbling armor is the only way to take it off you. The previous one, every time he throws a special, it takes off. So yeah, just those like subtle differences between the nodes, but makes the first node on this path a much harder Havok placement. That said, still, you know, just want to play this really cautious. You want to turtle up as much as possible. Try and avoid him throwing any special attacks. Stick to the special 3 route as well, so you can get the longer power drains on him. And yeah, that's it really. It's just a similar technique to taking it just on either 4B node really. I have taken this a few times I think already this season. Well, I say a few times, maybe only once, but a lot last season as well, to be fair. And it's pretty comfortable stuff for Warlock, generally speaking. We don't have an advanced power boost, so we don't have that power 1 start. We don't have tech power backs either. Those are just extra steps for safety measures, but I was pretty confident. Like I say, I think he's a bit trickier on the node before this, and that's probably where I'm more likely to lean into those safety nets. But again, if it's later in the season as well, I'd probably just chuck them on anyway, just in case. Again, a little bit of boost management there, and yeah, feeling comfortable without them. So that's 3 fights down, 3 solos, pretty good stuff. Take a lot of damage there with Warlock, like block damage and things like that, but that's fine. That was just me playing really cautious. We go into this final matchup now. It's a mini-boss. It's an Ebony Maw, rank 4 as well. It's just, yeah, it's always got room for error, isn't it, with an Ebony Maw? Rather, you don't have room for error, but there's always room for something to go wrong. Like, it's Ebony Maw. He will do something to screw you over. And no matter how many times you duel him, he will suddenly be the most stubborn guy you've ever tried to fight against when it comes to taking him in a war fight. So we go in here, we've still got our boosts on, we chuck on an invulnerability boost just in case we take some hits to the face, which we're probably going, there's a good chance of, with the playstyle we're going for here. And I throw on a 12% science boost. Those seem to rotate pretty well around the loyalty store, so I can use one there and just top it up the next time it comes around. And it does play quite well having it in this fight. So what are the nodes? He's got brute force, which is just always annoying. Like I said, Ebony Maw can get really stubborn and passive, so you're going to start degenning. Thankfully I have class advantage, so it reduces the brute force damage, but it's still pretty nasty, and it ticks for quite a bit. As you can see there, it's on me for a moment. You're going to see later in the fight where it gets a little more tricky trying to land a hit, and we tick away for more. He's also got Limber, which with the person who's placed this defender probably also running max Limber, just means you don't have too many parries available to you. He's also got Hard Knock Life, which means you probably don't want to parry too much anyway, because you get that passive disorient that you can see on me currently. And vulnerability boost, getting its use there, lovely stuff. Well, not so lovely for me, but it's there. I'm sure someone watching this enjoyed that. Yeah, what else? He also has, I think, what's the node? I always forget the name, but basically enhanced like auto block and evade ability, which means nothing for Ebony Maw in this particular matchup. That's fine. We take a special 2 to the block, not great. Again, brute force just ticking away a bit there. We are playing this pretty parry free, like I said, because of the Hard Knock Life and Limber paired together, so we don't have a House of X either on this one. So yeah, we are trying to heavy counter his heavy and his special ones. I find the special ones, the spacing for heavy, countering that pretty comfortable with those. The heavy countering his heavy, a little more difficult, and there's probably a couple times in this fight where I haven't lined it up. But I'd say for the most part, I have got my spacing down pretty well. Did quite a few duels for it, and you see this, I think, is a part of the fight I was referring to before, where that brute force just really does tick away. There's been a couple of them glancing there, helping out a bit, but that special 2 on the block, really not great. I've got a skill champ on my team, so we actually shrugged the falter there, which is lovely. But at this point, I am close to finishing the fight. I know I'm getting close to 3 bars. I'm taking some blocks here, just trying to get up to 5 kinetic charges and let loose, and this one will finish him for another solo. If you've seen me take, I think last season, Ebony Maw on path 9B a few times on hazard shift with, I think, one eye open, it's pretty similar for strategy to that. But yeah, the war ends in defeat, unfortunately. Not the best war for us overall with 12 deaths. BG3 and my BG in particular, we were a bit disappointed with ourselves. We could have done a lot better. We know there's some sloppy deaths there, but it happens. We just got to try and really trim down on those. We're halfway through the season now, getting towards the crunch stage. We really do want to iron those out now and get on a strong run to finish the season in a hopefully not too stressful way. Let's try and get Masters secured with a few wars to go, but it's not really the SSx way, is it? We usually do go down to the wire. But other than that, yeah, good first half of the season, being 4-2 up, but important to have that perspective there. We have got 4 wins, so in a decent spot. It's just about pushing on from here. But for myself as well, a good comeback from that awful, I think, War 4 to get 2 wars deathless now. I'm actually 5 out of 6 wars deathless this season. It was just that one horror show. So from a personal perspective, just, yeah, hopefully you can keep that kind of level up for the rest of the season and have that Awful War wiped completely from my brain in the context of the season. But that will be it for this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.